guys. Um, so it's December 4th, about 2:19 in the afternoon. It's a Thursday. And let's tell you, throughout the week, I keep coming across the purple. And I couldn't figure out why. It was just a recurring thing that's appearing on Facebook, on YouTube, on the TV shows that I've got going on. There's nothing that anyone could have manipulated like AI to have had it happen. And that's how you know when it's a sign that God wants you to reflect on something. So he wants me to reflect on the color purple, which is Advent. And I have been looking forward to Advent because there are so many activities to do to help you reflect and remember and love and thank Jesus for shedding his heavenly cloth and being born into human flesh. So you guys have that picture where I created it as a thumbnail. Let me bring it up because I want to discuss the items that are in it. One moment. Pull it up. Pictures. Maybe save pictures. Advent. Let me share my screen. Oh, let me get rid of my just to play it safe. Get rid of my sticky notes. All right. Share. As you can see, this is the image that I created. I used images that I, of course, got from the internet. There's no way I'd be able to create these myself. So to those who put this information up on the internet to be shared, I'm borrowing your information. Thank you very much for making it possible to borrow it. So this is just for instructional purposes, and I am not owning these items. I want to make that clear. So this is the representation of the Holy Spirit. During our season, let the Holy Spirit guide you. All right. So this is a picture of cards. There's a lot of families who have no money. They want to partake in this. My family is one of those families. I don't want donations, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in my seat who get embarrassed when people do donate. But what you can do is let us know that we're in your thoughts. I have a friend who always sends gives me a card where it's a sect of the priests in the Catholic Church. My name is put in a basket with a bunch of other people's names that we prayed over. Prayer cards are what they're called. You don't have to be a Catholic to have a prayer card. Other religions have one too. Or you could just make a regular card and let them know within the card that throughout the month of December, you will be dedicating your prayers to them. That is a personal way to make a prayer card. So if you don't have money, make yourself a prayer card to be gifted to someone and make your heart be the gift. All right. So that's one way we can do Christmas without money. Now, a lot of people don't have the ability to just go right out and buy gifts. You can make a lot with crafting. So you notice we have donations here, right? You got money that you can donate. This is for people who do have money. For people who don't, put the box or an envelope on your dining room table and ask people, scrummage around for change. When you go shopping, ask for donations, right? So you're actually going out of your way, just like a Girl Scout, and getting donations from outsiders, right? And whether you need the money or you know someone who does need the money, it becomes a Christmas gift. So that box is given for the sake of financial assistance during Christmas. And most school children in the Catholic system and Protestant schools and other places that are, I should say, learning institutions that have the Spirit of God towards them, within them, they will do this thing where this time of the year they give out these boxes that are they're a cardboard. You have to perforate, tear them at the perforation, and then you have to fold them into this box that's right here. And then you put it together and you ask your neighbors, your family member, store owners to fill the box up. And then you hand the box in to your teacher. And guess what? That might be what you learned to do as a child, but that does not mean it's just for children. There's a reason why the Salvation Army has Santa in front of stores trying to have people put money in a red bucket that's hanging off of a tripod, because no one thinks to do it. And the Salvation Army is the one entity that remembers the poor. So go back to your childhood. You don't need a fancy box, but just remember the spirit that you were taught. Go and get donations, rummage up money from anyone you can get, even if it's just like $6 worth of coins. You know what I mean? The intention is that when the money is all put together, if you need it for a Christmas dinner, make sure that if you plan to keep that money, that as you're asking for the donation, you word it in a way that it will be understood. That you don't have to let them know it's for you. I understand personally about the situation of how embarrassing it is. You don't need to let anyone know it's going to you, but you do need to let them know that it's going to assist a family who is struggling in the season to be able to afford to eat or pay their bills. You don't have to mention that it's you, but whatever money you manage to get, you make sure that when you're receiving money, you're also giving out a little piece of paper that says thank you. All right. It's just put a cross on it, the word thank you, so that they know they did good. It's a reminder when they go to put it in their wallet, they go to see their wallet next time, they'll remember they got a little blessing. And when you go home, you bless every single person who helped, who gave money. All right. You actually pray and tell God to bless them. So that's if you are the one who is struggling in the season. If you're not the one struggling in the season, then take that money that you receive to the local church, whatever religious sect, and put it in their poor box. Or hand it directly to the person responsible for ushering people. They will know best where to put it. All right? If you don't have a church that you're currently affiliated with, that you have nothing you want to do with, and you don't even know when parish doors open, you don't know if there's a rectory or anything like that, you can always make your way over to the Salvation Army, right? The places that have the clothes and household goods that you can buy, all those clothes they were donated to that place. So any money they make from you gets put into like a donation. So just add to the donation by taking it to the Salvation Army. The less stuff they have to sell, take money straight there. And then it goes towards whatever it is the Salvation Army does with that money. But it's good stuff. It wouldn't have been in existence all these years. You know, if anyone has any information about the Salvation Army, about their services and their goodwill. I would love to hear about it. So ping me. All right. Now, you have these donation boxes if you need stuff for your family. Find one person that you know you can trust. If you're in a parish, like many years ago, there was a lady in my parish. It was just my husband, me, and my daughter. I wasn't working. I was suffering through a lot of bad trauma that happened with my mom. And I just wasn't in the right place in the headspace here to be able to hold down a job and not like in the middle of a tax form printing that I was typing out, breaking down and crying for no reason at all, just because the image of my mother flew through my head. That's the devil interrupting my work day with the pain I'm in. I didn't feel safe working through that hardship. But as a result, we only had my husband's money and he wasn't a manager. So it was a very meager pay. We didn't make much. My husband had to sell his classic anime, his manga, and all his stuff that he had since he was a child. It's all collectible. It was all in great condition. He had to sell it just so that we could survive and to pay my daughter's tuition, because in order for her to come back home, I had to agree to let her stay in Catholic school for the transition. As a result, we had to figure out how to pay for that while financially staying afloat. And I'm telling you, if we hadn't been living with his parents, I don't think we'd have made it. But we eventually had to move out on our own. And my daughter decided she didn't like the poverty she was living in. So she chose to go to my mother's, and she's been living with her ever since. It's the society we live in. In any case, I went off board. When we were going through that time, there was a lady, I knew her father growing up. I was in the choir and he was the choir director. So I knew her since I was a kid, and she was just old enough to be my mom, but I trusted her because I knew her family. And so I always told her about how things were. And Christmas time, people came over with gifts for my daughter and me and Danny. It was so nice. It was touching. And in another year, when we had some canned goods that weren't expired, but they were about to be within a month or two, and I knew I either needed to eat them or donate them, and there was no way I was going to eat them. Not that fast. They wouldn't have still been there if there were something I would regularly eat. They were like yams and things like that just they were there for an emergency. You're like, we're out of food. Pull out the stuff you don't eat. That situation. And so I asked her if she wanted to go out to lunch. I had managed to pull together a little bit of money. And while we're there, we're just talking. She's asked me how things are with my husband, Danny. And I was telling her that we were still struggling. That everything's, but it's good enough, And she tried to tell me I shouldn't feel embarrassed, that we're in that situation. And I'm giving you this video because I know there's way more people now than ever that are financially struggling. You see, I'm wearing pretty clothes, right? I bought these years ago on my Lane Bryant credit card, which is maxed out at this point. Just to give you a better idea. But I've been waiting for a special occasion to wear them, and the occasion hasn't come because I've been remoting from home. So if you're, they're sitting in the closet and they still got their tags on. It's been years I've been stuck here since COVID. Haven't had a chance to wear them. And I'm starting to lose weight, so I better start wearing them before I never get to wear them. That's why I look like I'm wearing money when I've got no money. So pardon me. I'm still in debt with that Lane Bryant credit card. Hopefully the clothes last as long as it takes to pay the bill off. But I'm just letting you know. If you're like me, I'm going to pass on the message that I got from Barbara. Don't feel embarrassed that you're in poverty, and do find someone you feel comfortable with, and like I did, discuss it with them. Tell them about the hardships you're going through. They might even have advice for you. Like with Barbara, after she found out I was struggling, it was that Christmas that we got all that stuff. Um, and it was another Christmas where I was talking to her and I was bringing the cans, and because she was understanding we were still in poverty, when I went to help sort out the goods that we were going to give away for was it Christmas, Thanksgiving, I can't remember, it was in that part of the year. We were sorting them out, and she told me to go ahead and look around and take what I would like. I'm giving donated goods. And you want me to take them home? Not the ones I brought, but so the chaplain, he saw that I'm putting together a bag and she's slipping things into the bag. And then he sees me walking out with the bag and he starts getting mad. In his eyes, I was there to get the donation for myself. And that is how people in poverty end up where they don't want to reach out because they don't want to be embarrassed. And there's a lot of men out there with that mindset of, I worked hard. If I can do it, you can do it. They're not the hearts that are conditioned for God and won't make it in, according to what I've read in the Bible. Unless they've done some extraordinary thing that lets God forgive them and look past it. But God wants us to have goodwill with each other. If I could exchange my clothes for food, I would. The irony of life. So, if you are like me and you don't have money, but you have canned goods because that's what you can afford, even if it's something small, take it to your local church and donate it to the food bank. You don't have to let them know that you're struggling. But if you do need food, find the one person you can trust who won't embarrass you, and you let them know. You talk to them and ask them for some advice. Okay? Don't let them feel like you're looking for a handout, because I know how that comes across, and I know how it feels when they figure it out and they're like, oh, I got stuff for you. And then you're like, I didn't come here for that. I know that feeling too. You can just ask them for advice on how to make your food stretch. And, it's just having that person you can talk to, and maybe they will help you without making you feel embarrassed. There are people out there, God gifted them with beautiful hearts to know how to help each other. And I bless you, and I hope that God gives you that person, or has already given you that person that you can talk to for help. But if you are someone who doesn't need the help, who's doing really well off, do a full grocery cart. Okay? You got the ability to shop, and you think you can do only for yourself because it's all you can make, right? Throw one extra in that cart of something you know someone else can need that's not going to just like go bad in a week. So things that people can use that aren't going to go bad. You got your ramen noodles. Um, you got your canned vegetables. They've also got canned fruit. They got cereal, canned meat. Like any of these non-perishable things that are edible, make it an extra thing that you've put in your cart, and do this each time you go grocery shopping until you've got at least enough for a basket, or a little plastic shopping bag, and you take it to your church. Now if you're doing really really well enough you can afford to go on vacation, put an actual shopping bag together, the big brown bags, fill it all the way up. One year at work, my boss was insisting that everyone bring over canned goods and all kinds of food, because they were in a competition to see who could give the most food away for the food bank. And that put me in a situation again. We've been in a bad situation just because I went back to work. The poverty never went away. It just got to the point where I could start to afford to pay off the bills. We ended up in really deep credit card debt during the time I was in school, in the time I was recovering from my daughter leaving me. But, we're back in debt again. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how we ended up in debt again, but the debt's 10 times worse than it was when we started. But I have a dietitian that my insurance is paying for. And it's not welfare insurance. It's my husband's insurance from work. So I have diabetes. So the dietitian is teaching me how to eat correctly with diabetes while not having the money to do so. And God bless her. But back to what I was saying about work. Because we were in this situation, I tried to tell my boss, I can't do it. He's like, why can't you do it? There's how did he call it? A food store that's to block up. Just, you can't handle walking one block and bringing it back. I take the bus. It's not like I could just put it in my car and drive it. That's a hike. Where I was working, one block is 5 blocks here where I live. It was a hike. But instead of going to the store, I went through my house and I pulled together things that I haven't been touching. And I managed to fill up an actual paper bag with the food. And I brought it in, I put it in the box, and I made sure everyone saw that I did it so he couldn't hold it against me. Because he was mad when I told him I couldn't do it. But after I donated, I wish I hadn't, because we ended up needing that food I donated. Don't assume that because someone has a job where they make more than $8 an hour that they can afford to live. There's a lot of poverty going on. My husband and I couldn't even afford the house, yet here we are owning a house. We're not going to sell the house just because the amount of money we're paying in mortgage is less than the amount of money they charge for rent these days. Talking about ridiculous. So I feel bad for anyone who's in that situation. So we were talking about the food bank. If you have, whatever your situation is, either, find someone you can trust to ask them for some advice on how to get through the season. If maybe they can not let it become a big deal that you're receiving help from them, And if you have money, whatever you can afford, send it in, huh? So that's the food part. And to make it a little bit more fun, I found a picture of a box where you put a sticker on the day, and each day you put a can in that box. And I wouldn't wait until December to start this, even though it's Advent, because you need to hand this in the week before Christmas so that there's plenty of time for the helpers to sort things out to be sent out. It pays to get involved in your church because then you can find out the mechanisms of everything that's going on. And you should know what's going on. You need to be proactive in your church. Because if you let just anyone do anything they want and just trust that the right people are doing the right things, your church may end up sinking. So get involved in your church. So about the box, start maybe in the second week of November. And you have the parts that have to do with your Thanksgiving, but as you're doing your shopping, put together a box where each day you put a can of something in that box until it's all filled up. And then you can go over to the church, take the whole box, carry it over, whatever, and take it to the parish for them to do what they got to do. All right. And, just put a sticker on each day, just like you're seeing in this image, on each day that you've put something in there. When it comes to the clothing and the toys, buy one of each. You don't need a big box of each. All right. I would, for the toys, make it an age and a gender neutral toy, something that toddlers up to 12 would play with, like maybe a ball. Babies like balls. They can pat at it. They can run after it. So, and the 12-year-olds, they can toss it back and forth. Things that can be given out random, regardless of age or gender. The clothing, I would do something that, like, I don't know if your church will even have it, but maybe they will have a list of what they're looking to receive so they can donate. Like, they usually ask for things like gloves and hats and scarves, some coats for the children. But if you have actual clothes that you can donate, I would do, you could do gender neutral clothing. It's kind of hard to say what size to get with gender neutral. Use the 1X, 2X, or, whatever the children's sizes are that are X's. You know what I mean? What our adult equivalent is. You can tell it's been a very long time since I've had to shop for children's clothing. So you have cards that you can offer as prayers. You have toys, money, clothing, and food that you can donate. Because Christmas is a spirit of giving. Jesus gave us our freedom from sin, and he gave his life for us. And the whole purpose of our existence is to help each other and to love God. God is the first, foremost reason we're here. All right, so to let Jesus know that we are grateful for what he has done, we must help each other. So for Christmas, instead of looking to receive gifts, try to give gifts. And if you've got no money whatsoever and you're too embarrassed and you've got no one to talk to, you got no way of having any kind of Christmas, craft your gifts. Okay? I have been doing it for ages. Even if it's a pot holder, it's this plain fancy pot holder. It's better than nothing. At least you're trying. Even if it's a piece of paper that you made a frame with other papers, that's got a Bible verse on it that can be hung up. Even that is better than nothing. If you're not good at crafts, just take a piece of paper, fold it in half, draw whatever you can, or write, whatever wording you want. Just a greeting card will be better than nothing. A handmade greeting card. The intention is to try to do your best to give, no matter your situation. Now, for the celebratory part, we are talking about you're focusing and remembering and honoring. So we want to be praying every day. You can think about the reason Jesus died, the reason he even had to be born. You can think about all the things that surrounded his birth, all the events what was he, some Caesar? Don't mind me. I'm just, if I haven't read it within the last 24 hours, my brain doesn't remember it. So think about all those things that happened to Jesus. All he had to go through once he was born here. And pray and thank you to him. Pray a thank you saying, you are my Savior. Without you, I would not be free. Thank you for being born and going through what you went through and dying on the cross so that I might be free from sin and be able to accompany you in heaven. A simple prayer like that will work. And then pray a little bit of the Bible every day, the part of the gospel that's new, that's related to Jesus, okay? And you can have the manger. What I would do is each week put a different part of the manger into the manger. Like you can start the way the story goes. You can start with Mary, right? Then you can do Joseph, and then you can do Jesus, and then you can do the three wise men. But before all of them, I think you're supposed to put in the animals. Animals first. And I can't remember if Joseph found out before or after they got married. But either way, you can put Mary in the manger because the story focused on her because she was, Jesus was in her. And then you can put Joseph in there and then Jesus with the manger. I mean, the crib. And then the three wise men and the shepherd boy. And before the three wise men, shepherd boy, you got to put the angel on there. When you put Mary, Joseph, and Jesus in there, you got to put the star in there. Then you can do the wise men and the shepherd boy. This way it becomes an activity, not just a decoration. And then this is from the Catholic Church. This here is the Advent wreath. Each week is representing the week that we've waited for Jesus, that we've reached. And if you notice, purple is color for the Advent season in the Catholic Church, and probably the Protestant. I don't know how much the Catholic practice they have. But the pink candle is the week that Jesus is there. So you have that, and then you have your Jesse tree. This is my favorite activity because you can actually buy or hand make your own ornaments and put them on a real Christmas tree, or you could put them on a string and create a tree from the string. You know what I mean? Either way, these are really great activities to do And just keep in mind as you're doing them that your focus is on remembering all that precursor to Jesus coming to this earth, what happened while he was being born, and all the things that happened directly after he was born. And you are going to only put your Christmas decorations away after the Epiphany. Okay? When the three wise men story is being announced to the world that, hey, this is when three wise men came. I think it's what is it, January 12th? 1 second, I'll find out. January 6th. Sorry about that. It's January 6th. So when January 6th comes, you can put your Christmas decorations away, take everything down. But all the way up till January 6th, we are focusing on Jesus. We are thanking him for coming to us. And we are using this time to be with each other, to let each other know that we appreciate each other and that we are here to help each other. I started talking about donations because that's how we are going to help each other. You're helping clothe the person. You're helping them to have dignity. You're helping them to be able to exist. And you're helping them keep their family together. You're keeping them off the street just by simply donating enough money for them to pay their bills. And $20 is about how much your average bill would cost for someone who's like, what was it? The gas bill? Or was it the electric? I can't remember. But someone living alone, that's about how much. All right. So with this Christmas season, I hope you enjoy your reflections, and may God bless you and your family, and may he keep you. I love you, my fellows. Merry Christmas and goodbye.